it's estimated here that there are over 200 retail media networks, and buyers are now figuring out how to navigate this fragmented and quickly growing market. So, how do you advise agencies on how they can tap into the commerce media market efficiently?
Yes, so we do advise agencies a lot on how they ultimately tap into some of the retail media networks. It's a very complicated space in general, to be honest. Even today, hearing that there's over 600 available retail media networks and e-commerce platforms to tap into. So first of all, we got to figure out for an agency, like what makes the most sense for your brand. And I think once you understand kind of endemically like what aligns with your brand, you can go a level deeper and start to understand what these folks have to offer in market. Once you understand what they offer in market, I think your kind of next steps are start to test and be committed to testing. I don't think it should be a short term, hey, test one time and move on. We have to stay committed to continuing to test and test new partners in the mix that make most sense for you and your brand.
Well, I was hoping you could elaborate a bit more on that and what you think needs to happen at the industry level to make this process easier and kind of eliminate some of the pain points, maybe.
Yeah, there are some specifically pain points that we're facing right now when it comes to the market. There's an influx of folks, as I mentioned previously, that are playing in this space, and so it's become quite complicated for accessibility into these retail media networks. So at the end of the day, what we've got to focus on is there's a lot of folks available out there in the market. It makes it very complicated for the buy side. So if you put yourself in a trader's shoes, ultimately, there's just not enough time in the day to evaluate all these folks. So we have to simplify the process in general for the advertising community to understand what's available and how to best access it, and ensure that we're not kind of pushing or forcing them into unique platforms or disparate platforms in order to get access to the data itself.
So what role, if any, do technology companies like Magnite play in streamlining this whole process?
Magnite plays a really important role in streamlining this process. We've started this on the publisher side many moons ago with onboarding publisher first-party data into the Magnite ecosystem, so we're very familiar with handling data. Our recommendation has been and always will be is get the data into the Magnite ecosystem first so that we have the ability to compile data plus supply. So that, again, to my previous point where there's not all of these disparate platforms that folks have to use, the centralized hub becomes Magnite, and then we can package the data with supply and push that out into whatever platforms that folks are using. So if there's an affinity towards a specific buying platform or DSP, it's not directly integrating the data into the DSP. And doing that 70 times over, we feel the centralization into Magnite really helps alleviate the complexities that occur right now, especially with lack of resources that are happening on the buy side.
So, what are some of the ways you're seeing advertisers leverage retail media data in their campaigns?
We're seeing a wide variety of how folks are actually leveraging retail media data in their campaigns. There's really easy use cases and really complex use cases. At the end of the day, we feel it's evolved, quite frankly, a lot. But in a simple use case, just to give you an example, is a beverage manufacturer that has data on folks that have purchased their data or purchased their beverage previously, and they're interested in targeting those users ultimately with a new beverage that they're putting into market. So that's like a really simple use case that we see all the way to healthcare, where it's a bit more intricate in how ultimately we're leveraging data to target folks that have some sort of need for specific healthcare products or drugs or medications, if you will.
Okay. Well, finally, Mike, I was hoping you could just kind of look ahead a little bit and imagine a future when commerce media in digital advertising is a well-oiled machine. What do you hope will be some of the tangible benefits that marketers or publishers will see?
Yeah, I think the tangible benefits that folks are going to see as time evolves in this space is, one, just the complexities will be alleviated, but two, more importantly for me, it's just how all of these companies work together. We're just ultimately listening to a panel talk about the journey of the customer, and I think which is really interesting is kind of how you hit the actual user through their journey, and that could be everywhere from like an Uber car ride all the way to the airport and to United to the screen at the hotel, whether LG or Samsung or Roku or what have you, and then backwards on that. So I think for me the really exciting piece of all of this is the journey and how we're actually reaching users with specific messaging along that journey.